What was it like being called up to the major leagues and stepping first time on the field in Philadelphia?
Well, actually, the first time I stepped on the field was in D.C.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was D.C. was the first one, and that was a brand new stadium at the time. Well, I wouldn't say brand new, but it was a newer stadium at the time. So, I think that kind of made it even more sparkling and shining because everything was new. But the one thing I noticed when I walked out onto the field was how big and how black the batter's eye was. And I was like, man, I'll be able to see anything that comes my way at here. That was something that I did notice too. It was just like, I don't know, the game speeds up, I guess, a little bit, but only because it's just so crisp. But at the same time, I don't know, like everything that is there is designed for you to succeed, So that was something that was kind of breathtaking, coming from the minor leagues and, having it be, I guess, storied and talked about so much. And then when you get there, it still blows you away. I'd say that would be the best way to describe it.
So you actually played for a lot of successful teams. 2008 Phillies that ended up winning the World Series. You were a little unlucky after that. You played for the Rangers the year before they went to the World Series, and the Yankees right after that, where they lost in the NLCS ALCS one of them times to the Rangers. But all very good teams. So talk about some of your favorite moments that you had, your favorite games, and also were there any teammates that stood out to you, both either talent-wise or even like a personality? And do you have any good stories with one of them?
I grew up. I wouldn't say idolizing Derek Jeter, but I grew up, liking the guys who kept their nose clean and were just kind of the faces of baseball. So, when I remember sitting in the dugout, I think it was a day game or something, and Jeter had got a single to knock out the pitcher that was on the mound. So during the pitch and change, he comes into the dugout, and I'm just kind of sitting at the step where first base is. And he grabs some water, and he's just kind of leaning forward. And he looks at me and he goes, I'm going to go first move on this guy. And I'm like, this is really, I'm sitting here like, man, this is really cool. Like I got like a little insider information. I'm going to see what he's doing. So he gets up there, he gets his lead, and then he goes first move and gets picked off. So he gets out and then he comes back in the dugout. And when he gets right to me and he's like, well, that didn't work. That was kind of like, I don't know. That was one of the funnier moments because it was like, I wouldn't say, I don't know. You put them up on this level and you see that, he dealt with failure in a way that was kind of humorous. So that was one of the things that kind of allowed me to relax. But to your second question about, guys who stood out to me, Curtis Granderson was probably, the guy was awesome. You know what I mean? What's crazy is before I got to the Yankees, I had heard so many people tell me that I reminded them of Curtis Granderson. So when I got to the Yankees, he was like, hey, you want to stay at my place? He offered me to stay when I got called up. And I was like, no, I'll just stay at the hotel because at the time I was getting a free hotel. You get 7 free nights. Mm-hmm. So after that homestand, he had asked me if I wanted to stay with him. I was like, no, I'll just stay at the hotel. So another week goes by, and the next homestand comes by, and he's like, you sure you want to stay at the hotel? I know it's getting expensive. And I'm like, yeah, let me come on by. So he hooked me up with a spot. He kind of took me under his wing. And unfortunately, I wasn't there long enough because we had a bunch of injuries and a bunch of different roles that guys were playing. But, Curtis was probably one of the most professional and helpful people for me.
Curtis Granderson, I met Curtis Granderson I met him a couple of times. I met him with the Yankees. I met him with the Mets. And it was so funny. I was hanging out right by the field, and Curtis was signing autographs. And he says, "You want an autograph?" I said, "No, thank you. I would like your hat." And he says, "Maybe at the end of the game, I'll throw it to you." That's what he told me. But Curtis Granderson, I always thought Curtis Granderson was great as a media guy. I really think he's a great play-by-play guy. I think he should get that ESPN job that Alex Rodriguez has, because I don't think Alex is any good at what he does. I'm just being honest. I think Curtis Granderson, he's funny, he has outgoing, he's got stories. Every time I met him, he would tell me a story, a funny story. I said, give me a story that, and he always had a story, and I think he would be a fabulous coach, manager.